Hi, this is Bruce from AO Automotive Reviews, encouraging you to subscribe, to like, and to continue watching these videos. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to putting out a lot more great content. Thanks for watching and subscribing. Much love. Peace out.
Nothing less than the most beautiful sedan in the midsize segment. But how do you do that, right? So in developing a car, you have designers, just like myself. But on the other corner of the equation, we have engineers. Now these two entities are so different. I'm actually married to an engineer. I can tell you, very different types of people. We argue all the time, but for the right reasons, right? We have different mindsets, but when you bring these two entities together and get them to talk to each other, wonderful things can happen. And we call this the innovation. And I want to kind of dig a little bit deep into why that was important in creating this vehicle. So as a designer, you see the beautiful profile of the Sonata right here. We're trained all our lives to create that one perfect stroke of line, one perfect surface. But I can tell you that none of that really matters unless it's sitting on the right footprint, the right wheels, right platform. So that's where the engineers come in. So we really went to the engineering to develop the right stance, the right wheelbase, and the shorter overhang, both of which we have proudly achieved for this car. But perhaps what was the standout character, what was the biggest win for this platform development was that the shock towers were repositioned. This is something that's really hard to do in engineering terms. We were able to lower and reposition the shock towers to be a little more inboard. That's the area right here. And that's what allowed us to create this really dramatically sloping and low hood profile of this vehicle. So all in all, we analyzed and looked at every little millimeter that we could improve. And something that I learned through this project is that perhaps design is quantifiable by numbers, which is kind of crazy to me. But every millimeter counts. Every little point, when you push it in the right place, what you end up with is a side silhouette like you see on the screen, which is beautiful, which is really striking. I encourage you guys to get up and look at the side profile after this presentation as well. And towards the front of the car, you can see how, again, going back to the shock tower area, how this area just slopes down and how low the hood is compared to some of our key competitors. And one key element that I actually like to point out is that the hood is missing a part line. So this is something that is kind of hard to notice, but a lot of exotic cars do this, but it's really difficult to achieve in a production car because it's easy to put a part line here and put a latch system here. But we decided to reinvent the entire structure of the front bumper so that it looks like a really long hood, proper proportioned vehicle. And when you look at our key competitors here, all of these vehicles actually have that part line across the hood. And when you kind of squint your eyes and look at these vehicles and imagine these cars without the part line across the hood, you could argue that they would be better designs. And this is something that we're proud to achieve on the Sonata.
Wow.
Our design strategy for our exterior styling is called sensuous sportiness. And you may ask me, okay, what does that mean, right? And actually, I'd like to tell you, the terms that we use within the studio is that when you look at the car, your hands just automatically do this. Like, oh, I want to touch the car. I want to feel the surfaces. I want to wash my own vehicle. So when we're sketching the car, we keep this in mind. As designers, this is probably the most fun stage of the design process where you put pen on paper, pencil on paper. Is it sensuous? Is it sporty? And the final design had to capture both these phrases in the right balance. And this is one of the final renderings that survived to production, where you can see this really dramatically sloped front hood, sporty, but you can see the surfaces are very voluptuous, very sensuous. And also it had a face to match that is very iconic. Iconic is a keyword that we use for this car. When you look at the car, when you turn your head away, do you remember the face of the car? Because it's so important, right? And we want to create that really striking presence of the front of the vehicle as well, one that you can't forget. And towards the side of the car, we have a feature called the dynamic lasso. This is a chrome strip that runs along the entire length of the DLO, daylight opening design terms, the window line, continues right down to the hood and continues into the headlight. And something that we've done really neat here is something that you probably noticed is that the chrome line actually becomes a light in the front. And this is something that is actually industry first. And it took a lot of technology to make this happen. What's happening here is it's etched by laser. So there's these tiny dots that are kind of like burned through here. So this is actually a chrome strip But by burning little tiny holes in the laser, we were able to create a fading light pattern to create this unique light architecture towards the front. And towards the back, what you'll notice is that we have a very sharp spoiler in the back, again, to accentuate the sportiness. And when the brake light is lit up, it really goes across the entire length, or entire width of the back of the car. And the center high-mounted brake light looks as though it's hovering as a segment that's floating on top of its brake light signature. And I'll talk about the interior here. I mean, I think it's easy to forget that you spend the most amount of time in the inside of the car. So we wanted to make sure that this part of the car is perfect as well. And I wanted to kind of share with you where this came from, where did the interior design came from. And this image really captures everything. So this wing, this flying drone image is where the interior came from. And I want to kind of toggle back to our interior image and back to our inspiration image. And you can clearly see where it came from. We chose this image because it gave us a sensation that it was light, it was floating, it was high tech, and it was just effortless. There's just something about that image. So with the interior of these, the cars these days, there's so much technology, so many buttons, right? There's so much clutter, but can you have that one overriding element to clean everything up, simplify everything in one gesture? So as with the exterior, when we hit the sketchboard, we wanted to make sure, even with thousands of different components, do you read that one key character line? That's something that we really tried to focus here. And you're seeing the final sketch, actually done by myself here, where, again, a lot of the necessary components are intact, but again, the key line being intact, and also we wanted to create that premium sensation by using really nice materials throughout. And something that we're also very proud to achieve here is how low the passenger side airbag section is, that kind of the brown pad area towards the passenger side. And we were able to achieve this because the vents are super thin in this car, and that's something that I want you to kind of notice when you get inside the car. It's at 35 millimeters, actually industry leading standards. And by talking to the engineers again, going back to the engineers, and really we had to beg for thin vents so that we can push down the height of the dashboard, again, to achieve that really thin wing-like IP image. And as with the exterior, we have the light architecture highlighting this beautiful line, that one iconic gesture throughout the dashboard, which continues into the door panel. And here, I want to talk about the armrest a little bit. This is kind of a funny story because when I talk about the armrest, you're like, well, who cares about the armrest, right? But as designers, we care about the armrest because when you're riding in the car, your arms have to rest, right? And with so many driver edge technologies, the drivers, actually, where your elbow sits is actually very important that you're comfortable in that position. So we had to revisit the entire structure underneath the door to create an armrest that runs along the entire length of the door, as you can see in this image right here. But something that was even more unique is that we were able to punch out a big hole on the outboard of these armrests. And these days, you're carrying a lot of things, right? You're carrying a phone, you're carrying a wallet, so that big hole not only serves as a pocket where you can close the door in any position, but you can stow your phone in there, you can put your wallet in there. So, again, going back to my story of every millimeter counting, this is one example of where that really counted for comfort. And for the screens, nowadays with the screens getting bigger and bigger, it just makes sense for the cluster and the navigation to be connected in design terms. And one way to connect it is how a Mercedes does it in a straight line. But we wanted to really challenge ourselves to make it even better. So what we did was we put the cluster embedded deeper the way it was before. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So we put it deeper and we created enough shade on top of it, because the problem we face with connecting a straight line is that the cluster part, where it displays the speed, crucial information, is exposed to sunlight. So sometimes this display would be washed out and you can't even see it. So we put it back into where it belongs and connected it in kind of a threading manner. So it looks like both screens are connected. The touch screen is closer to you, but we connected in a very unique S-curve gesture. So both inside and out, we hope that we created this iconic vehicle, and I hope the car is as beautiful as this city is. And with that said, I want to introduce you to CJ to talk about the wonderful technologies that's inside the car. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is CJ Ekman. I'm the Assistant Manager of IoT and Connected Car at Hyundai Motor America. I'm here to talk about all of the technology that we packed into the 2020 Sonata. I'm going to start with our advanced driver assistance systems that we call Hyundai SmartSense. As you can see on the slide, there is a ton of advanced technology in this car, but I want to point your eyes to some of the features that are standard. Smart cruise control and lane follow assist. I'm not sure if you've been able to experience these technologies for yourself, but the fact that these are standard in a car at this price point is truly incredible. I was in Alabama a few weeks ago, and I was doing a lot of driving in this vehicle, and I really got to experience these features for myself. And even last night, driving around Miami, I saw what kind of traffic you guys have. These features will definitely be nice for drivers here in this state. Smart cruise control, what it does is it regulates the speed based on the vehicle in front of you. So in traffic, the car will slow down all the way to 0, and when the car in front of you speeds back up, the car will regulate speed with that vehicle and drive forward. And with lane follow assist, it'll keep your car in the lane. You maybe have experienced lane keep assist, which kind of keeps you in the lane, but if you rely on it too heavily, you'll kind of feel like you're bouncing as it tries to find its way in between those two lanes. Well, lane follow assist will keep you right center in the middle of the lane, and it gives you a lot of confidence when the car is on the freeway in these types of situations. All of this safety technology leverages a lot of cameras and sensors and radars, and so on top of the safety technology, you can add a lot of convenience by leveraging something like the cameras. So with the Sonata, we have a new feature called Blind Spot View Monitor. So when you turn your blinker on, you'll see in the center cluster a view of the blind spot using the camera on the side mirrors. And when you're parking, driving at low speeds, it'll use the front and rear camera to give you a 3D view of the car so you can fit in tight parking spaces. This is one of those features that you think, oh, that's really cool, but once you have it in a car, it's really hard to go back. And even with just rear view camera, this is a life-changing feature. Speaking of tight parking spaces, I think we've all been in this situation. We're all car people. We're here at the auto show. When you get a new car, you go to the grocery store and you park way out so that no one parks right next to your brand new car. And when you walk out, it seems like people pinpoint that car and they park inches next to it, right? Well, with the Sonata, we have a key fob that will let you pull the car out of the parking spot without even having to get into the car. Thank you. And this is a high-density area, much like Southern California, so when people build new houses, it seems like garages are really small. This feature will also allow you to stop your car in the driveway, let out the kids, the dog, even yourself, and then you use the key fob to pull it right into your garage. The next feature that I'm very excited to talk about is Hyundai Digital Key. So Hyundai Digital Key is an Android-based smartphone app that replaces the functionality of your key fob with an Android app. So I personally love anything that I can replace with a smartphone app. My house, I don't even have a house key, I don't have a garage door opener, I just use apps. And more consumers are expecting things to be replaced with an app. And so that's what we've done with the Hyundai Digital Key. So when someone needs to borrow your car, you can just send them a key virtually and they have instant access to drive your car. And even say you have a kid that's not quite 16 and you want to give them access to only get into the car and not drive it, you can do that as well. And when the person is done driving the car, you can revoke the key so that they no longer have access to your vehicle. And when your key is your phone, the car knows who's driving it. So when I drive the car and I place the phone in the wireless charger, it knows that CJ's driving it and the heads-up display is adjusted to my height, the seat goes to my seat preferences, the office is my office. And when my wife drives the car, it goes to her seat preferences, the heads-up display goes to her height, and the office is her office. The last features I want to talk about are a few features inside the car. The heads-up display has been enhanced to 8 inches and shows key information like your navigation directions as well as your blind spot detection. This is also the first Hyundai that features Bose premium audio. Also, the wireless phone charger is enhanced to increase charging speeds by 30%. And if you've ever used a wireless charger, a lot of times when you pull your phone off, your phone has gotten really warm. So with this, we included a fan integrated into the wireless charger that keeps your phone cool so that when you're done driving and you pull your phone out of the wireless charger, your phone is at a cool temperature. As you can see, the 2020 Sonata checks all the boxes. With both striking design and advanced technology and a standard Hyundai SmartSense technology, we are really excited to get this car into market for our consumers. We invite you today to experience it for yourself during the ride and drive, and Steve, Kevin, and I will be available to answer any of your questions We thank you guys so much for the time, and we appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
It was like a. He looked really
Well, I suspected you had some kind of authority because he's well disciplined, and a wife will do that.
Be careful. So now you have the key?
Yeah.
Now push.
Now I want you to demo. Hold on one second. No, hold on one second. I need you to demo. Yes. Hold on, buddy. Just give me 1 second. 1 second. Yeah, let me get the video. Okay, Angela Serrato, why don't you explain this new feature on the 2020 Hyundai Sonata?
All right, here we go. So all you got to do is...
What is the feature called?
Good question.
Okay, so but what is the outcome of the feature?
Good question.
Okay, well, let's stop that and
Yeah.
let's just start all over again.
Wait, I don't...
No, it's okay. Just show us the one of the features of this new Hyundai Sonata.
Super. So you just position the key to go backwards. And it starts going backwards.
Wow.
And as soon as I release the button, it'll
So
stop.
like if you were in a tight parking space, you need to back out. Amazing.
And if I step in front of the wood, stop. Let's see what happens. Make it go forward.
Yeah, right.
Make it go forward. Let's see what happens.
Might be liability questions with that.
Because I'm a little kid, I run in front of it.
Oh,
Did it stop?
nice. And the wheels turn.
And the wheels turn.
Like they turn away from you
Yeah,
too.
wheel turn.
So,
Yes.
so if it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you, Angela.
You're welcome, guys.
Thank you.
You didn't think did you just try to film?
So,
On video. I'm sending that to myself. On video. I just lost my job. I'll see you later today. All right, guys.
Oh, you
Yeah,
see,
beautiful.
this is what I'm talking about.
Very impressive.
That's all cool.
Yes, very impressive.
And that all lights up. And you got the running lights?
Yeah.
That was really cool.
And then it turned away from him. In case it did hit him, it was gonna miss him.
Thank you so much, honey.
All
That
right.
was beautiful. That was worth it. Yes. That's beautiful. And that's bad, honey, right there. That's bad. That thing is bad, honey.
This is the Hyundai Sonata 2020, the pre-production model.
Yes.
Again, this is AO Automotive Reviews. Thanks for watching.